Hello, hi. Today I'm going to share with you a part of my quilting, which I did a feather quilt on the border of this quilt. And basically this video is just to share you my process of doing this. Maybe just a basic thing that I actually do while I quilt this quilt. So as you can see, this is my quilt machine which I quilt on. So I don't have an extension table, as you can see as well, so I have a very small limited space to move my hand and where I put my palm. And the good thing about this machine is actually have needle down position, which I use whenever I stop, and also a speed control, but I normally put it on the fast mode. So let's get quilting. So as you can see, I've already put my quilt in. So I'm going to be a bit slow with this because this is my first time doing the video. Okay, so, and I'm actually on one of the feathers. And before I get onto this, I've already drawn the whole bone for the feathers using a water washable pen. So you can just draw the bones and the feathers will actually be a free form. So I'm going to just zoom in so that you can see what I'm doing now. The good thing about quilting the borders is that you have a very little materials actually going to go into the neck of your machine. Then that means you less struggle with it. It's just that these feathers are quite big, so I'm just going to share you how I actually do these big feathers, and I stop even throughout the feathers and just alter my hand sort of so that I can actually move to the right feathers. So let's get a move on. I'm not sure where I'm at. Okay, so I'm going to move on one of the feathers. I'm actually going to move another feather here. It's always very easy for you to quilt if the lines are is facing towards you, so you're actually quilting towards yourself and you're pushing the materials towards the back, so it's much easier. Just make sure that the leftovers, okay, I'll just zoom out a bit. So just make sure that the part over here is actually quite free and it's not dangling down or stretching down below, so that you can actually move it easier. So when you push, you're actually not dragging this quilt up. Instead, you're just moving without having so much force of this. So just make sure that this is actually on the table, or you can just scrunch it up a bit up here. So I'm just going to continue again. Let's just zoom in again. Let's continue on my feathers. Another good tips that you actually need to know as well is it's also good to have a really good basting on the sides here, so which I didn't do. So my fabric tends to actually get in, which is not good. So if you have a basting pin, you can actually pin all the way really at this side here. So just pin, or you can just pre-baste that as well. So that will actually help the material to stay quite flat. So I'm not doing that, I'm just breaking rules sometimes. It's very easy to do feathers on a not curvy line, so I will show you when you get to the curvy line how you're actually going to change your shape of the feathers. So this is very freeform. What I do is actually just go along with the curve until to the end, to almost the edge of the quilt. So as you can see, all my feathers are almost reaching to the edge of the quilt here. So you can just go from here to there at the corner there. So I'm just going to create another one. So you can see. For small feathers like this one, I don't think you should have any problem because the movement of your quilt wouldn't be that far from one another, and you don't need to stop in the middle of the feathers to move your quilt or your palm. So I think it's very easy to do small, but once you get to the larger part, then that will be the trouble. So I'll show you that in a while. With different machine, you actually get a different speed as well, so you have to get used to your own machine. So with my another machine, it's actually quite fast, and I get used to that one as well. This machine is quite controllable. I can control the speed very well just using my foot pedal. So get used to your machine and get used to how you should move with your speed as well. So if you have a very fast speed, then you actually have to move your quilt quite fast as well. So if you find that very difficult, you actually have to stop a lot more time, but you can move a bit more faster. Now when you reach to a point where you can see that feathers are growing larger and larger, you should stop and think whether you should actually stop making large feathers instead of making feathers that will reach to the end of the quilt. So I'll just zoom out. So as you can see, this is quite a large feather. If I'm going to do another one feather, it's going to be quite large here. So I don't want to really do that. So when you reach to this stage, you're going to start thinking of making a small feather instead, and then you can just cover that space with another feather that's coming from the spine. So I'm just going to probably make a small feather here. See, this feather is not going to reach to the end of there, but I'm going to continue from there and create another second feather. Just going to reach there. As you can see there, if you can see, it's not that really nice, so I would have hoped that I actually gone there, but sometimes it's very hard when you're working with a small machine. You can't really see it from the top how it's actually looking at, so because you're going towards the back as well, you don't know what you're expecting. So like this one, I normally just stop because I really hate this shape. So have a look. So as you can see, I actually turned quite quickly there, so I really want to just curve it more there. So I'm just going to stop, snip it off, the bottom thread and also the top thread. Yep. Okay, and just take my seam ripper. sometimes things like this happen, so you just have to stop, and you can just go on, because sometimes you don't really notice that one feather anyway. But sometimes it just annoys me so much that I just really want to take it out, especially when I'm pretty good and not feeling that lazy. I'm taking it out anyway. Okay, so now that's done. Probably I should be able to make this bigger as well. Yeah, just make this bigger. Another thing with this feather thing is that with this small domestic machine, you tend to create the very narrow feathers as you go longer. Just that it's easier to move that way, and you tend to do that. So if you want a large, nice rounded feathers, you would have to think of moving it slowly and thinking before you just go for it. Probably stop in the middle of the feather as well and start adjusting your hand and palms for the quilt to move. So I'm just going to take that out from the back as well. Just going to snip that off. Okay, I'm going to continue back on that one because I'm just going to repair that. So what I'm going to do is the same thing as I normally do. Get your needle down, take your bottom thread out, and do a couple of stitches. And continue. So this is what I mean. If you want to really create a flat one, you actually have to stop a while and then start continuing on that. Stop a while, look where your spine is, and think about how you're going to go about that. Right. So if you can't see really clearly in this video, I might do another video with a different contrast thread so that you can actually learn much better then. But it's just good to show you how I do this. Alright, I'll see you then. Thank you for watching.